In my infinite wisdom, I avoided buying a drone because I could see it flying into a tree and it getting destroyed. So instead, I bought a boat to have some fun with. Go figure. It would end up being taken out by a low-hanging tree. The superstructure was knocked out and a bunch of repairs are needed. Now, apparently parts are available on eBay if I want to spend $150 for a new canopy and a new superstructure. Instead, we're doing some repairs and we'll do a couple of short videos on how we went about things. This will be the first in the series. Because I had a cracked seam in the superstructure, the first thing I had to do was worry about matching color. This was not an easy color to match. You would think olive drab would be olive drab. I have a half dozen greens on my bench and none of them really matched. I even checked the store. The closest I could come was Tester's Model Master Acryl. So it's an acrylic-based paint. Their number is 4807. It's Russian Armor Green. And as you'll see in the upcoming photos, even though it's not about fixing the seam, the paint is close. And I went on the assumption that most in-the-field military repairs are not going to be an exact match for the original. Might be close, but it's not going to match. So with that in mind, I think you'll see the results were not bad. And here's the back of the bottle with the UPC as well as the labeling. Again, it's Russian Army Green. In this installment, we're doing a repair on the canopy supports. Because of the crash into the tree, the support at the aft on one of the sides broke off. The solder joint gave way, piece was missing. So I had to get some brass rod and solder it back in place. 1/16 brass rod seemed to do the trick. It was a little tricky soldering, but not all that difficult. You're also going to need some cyanoacrylate cement. Do not go to CVS and get the cheap stuff. Go to a hobby store, go to Amazon, get the good stuff. In this case, I was using mostly medium thickness gap filling cyanoacrylate from Bob Smith. I am also using thick cyanoacrylate in other areas. It works a lot better than the stuff you get at the corner drugstore. Here's a view of the repaired piece from the forward position. The solder seemed to hold nicely. The wire was inserted into the hole. I was nervous about melting the plastic, but it held up well. I did hold the wire with pliers to try and draw off some of the heat and use it as a heat sink. And it worked well with very minimal damage to the plastic. And here's a view from the aft, and there'll be one more view after this. And after sanding and filing, here's the painted repair all done and ready to go back into service. And here we have a shot of the inside of the cabin. There's a little nubbin sticking out. I couldn't cut it off any better with the tools I had at hand. Down the road I may try filing it or cutting it off better. I also used the medium gap filling cyanoacrylate to hold it in the hole and fill any gaps that might have been in there. It's holding very nicely. In the prior picture, you may have also noticed the paint discrepancy forward of this repair. That was what I was referring to with the paint mismatch. That was a seam that cracked upon impact, and I had to realign the parts, use the cyanoacrylate to hold them in place, and then paint it over. The color is not exact, but I figure it's close enough. So there you go. We're all done. Now we'll move on to the next one, and that will be a separate video.